You know, I always find Aquatope a great way to end the week. Everything is just so cheery and bright that it's hard not to love it. This week was a great example of that. Gama Gama is back together, though things are a little different, and Kukuru has a newfound motivation to move forward. But before I get any further, I do have to take care of the usual business first. First, if you are part of that 94% of people who are not subscribed, definitely consider subscribing to become part of that 6% who are subscribed. Thank you to that 6%. Next up, don't forget the 250 sub goal by the end of the year in the 1000 by Anime Expo next summer, and if we break, hit, or get really close to that 1000 by Anime Expo next summer, I will cosplay the full cosplay. That means literally everything: shoes, clothes, makeup, hair, whatever, as Inori Yuzuriha. Let me clarify exactly what I mean by cosplay. I would be cosplaying in person at the convention, and I would have the best moments and reactions uploaded here. When I say ambitious, I really mean that I am planning to be ambitious with this. Next on our list of things to do, at 200 subscribers, I'll be rolling out a Patreon where you can directly support me there. All the reward information will be available the same day that I launch the Patreon. Lastly, my Pokémon content is all going to be over there on the rise soon, and I'll have a link to that as well. If I don't forget, that is. Alright, that's enough. Let's get on with the Aquatope episode 14 review. I gave you the first of my opening thoughts a little bit earlier at the start of the video, so now let me give you the rest. To be fair, Fuuka's return was kind of expected, but what got me was that she wanted to be an aquarium attendant even after all of this time away from Gama Gama and everyone else. I think that's a true testament to just how much she cares and how much Gama Gama changed her life. Then we have the behind the scenes tour of this episode. It was really nice seeing the children smiling and laughing, really enjoying their time. This is something we've kind of missed for the last 3 or 4 weeks or so now. So to be honest, I didn't realize just how much of an impact children really have on the storytelling when it comes to this anime. They are truly a blessing in disguise and bring out the best in everyone. My initial impressions for the week, there's one word I'm going to use for this: happy. Yeah, this episode put a smile on my face, and rightfully so. Fuuka is back, and by back, I mean she's here to stay. There's really nothing to hold her back, but we'll get to that when we get to Fuuka here in just a few more minutes. Last week was a lot of new, and maybe it's just that I'm not a big fan of change once I've got into the routine of things and settled in, but it was really a lot of uncertainty. However, this was to be expected considering that it was the start of the second core and all. But you know, some change is good, and I think this change will be good. For Kukuru and for everyone. Now, I do want to mention that even though it seems like Fuuka was our primary main character for this anime at first, it's pretty apparent that, at least now, it's actually Kukuru. This is worth mentioning since a lot of us focus solely on what we're seeing, and not necessarily what we can take away from the themes and messages of the anime itself. In a general sense, it's understandable, but Aquatope has so much more to offer that if I weren't doing these weekly reviews and just taking the anime only at face value, I now know how much I would have missed, and missed out on learning. Important lessons that I believe pertain to everyone. So, things are moving right along at Tingara, which is a good sign. That bit of internal strife we saw last week seems to, at least for now, have been sidelined. There are more important things to be done, and I think Chiyu and Kukuru both understand that. Furthermore, I sense new bonds and friendships growing among some new people, and I really enjoy that. It's really nice to see. A little bit of old with some new. I'm beginning to think that Tingara might have been the good everyone needed after all. However, knowing this anime and PA works, there's going to be a curveball somewhere and we won't see it coming. Best girl, Fuuka, is back and as motivated, if not more, than ever. Recall Fuuka and Kukuru's meeting on the beach at the end of last week's episode. At first, it seemed strangely coincidental that Fuuka would know exactly where to find Kukuru and just so happened to be at the same place at the same time. Well, for those who love pure coincidence like that, and don't get me wrong, there was definitely coincidence in that meeting. This was actually partially set up. Don't worry, I'll explain. You should know me by now, unless you're part of that 94% of people who are not subscribed, and a little more because Fuuka knows her Kukuru. After all, the beach is where they spent countless hours getting to know each other, having fun, and doing what they do best, being a little more than friends. Alright, so why did I call this a partial setup? Fuuka had already been planning her return to Okinawa in general, but Tingara specifically is what she was going for. She had called Gramps to set her up at Tingara, and with Fuuka's immense help around Gama Gama in the months she was there, and her excellent politeness and willingness to work hard, it's no wonder she got the job. I'd bet money that Gramps gave her a recommendation worth its weight in gold. Or fish. What's more, she even gets the role of marine animal attendant, which is like a slap in the face to Kukuru, but she's got it. Right now, she's a better fit for the menacing Chiyu anyways. It's still a little too soon for Kukuru. Anyways, now Fuuka lives literally right next door to Kukuru, which just gives off this radiant vibe of pure joy. To top things off, she also had this arranged by asking where Kukuru was living now. This is why Fuuka is best girl. Perhaps this episode, Kukuru's biggest moment of growth was her admittance to the fact that sometimes she acts like a child. I'm not saying this is necessarily all bad, but she recognizes that it does hinder her. This is a good step in the right direction, but I don't want to lose the sight of Kukuru too fast or too much of it. Kukuru is like the chocolate on a strawberry. Do I have to explain who the strawberry is? The strawberry is still delicious by itself, but if you had the chance to add chocolate to it to make it more of a delicacy, why wouldn't you? Forget ordinary and plain. Life needs a little color and some adventure, and that's exactly what the chocolate strawberry symbolizes. Without this little ounce of childish behavior by Kukuru at times, things would not be nearly the same. It's great for comic relief, too. Her little verbal monologues are pretty cute sometimes, and a great way to know exactly how she feels. This is a trait that has been a recurring theme all throughout this anime so far. Now, with Fuuka back in the mix, it's like Gama Gama never closed, other than the fact that Kukuru doesn't have an attendant position and Gramps are still back at Gama Gama just living out their days. However, Kukuru has begun to pick up the pace, and has learned how to be a more responsible young adult. But again, I don't want to see anyone go from Gama Gama to, okay, time to be a boring adult. None of us want to be that, so let's at least do our best not to be. Maybe take a page from Fuuka's book, you know? So I feel like Kukuru's time in marketing is helping her understand the nature of being in a position that requires a lot of responsibility and not always spontaneity or a go-it-alone approach. Remember when Choco got Bumblefoot, the spelling of the footpad on the penguin's feet? This can be fatal if left untreated, and Kukuru called the doctor whose baby was literally overdue. This was a rash and spontaneous decision, but it was Kukuru's attempt at a go-it-alone approach. While everything turned alright in the end, this is the type of thing that cannot happen at Tingara. Kukuru is still growing and has a lot left to learn. Her experience at Gama Gama is noteworthy, but she does need a lesson or two in taking responsibility. However, with Fuuka back in town for at least a while, Kukuru is now determined to do her best, and I strongly believe she'll make it happen. Like I've already mentioned, Fuuka and Kukuru are a pair again, which is like an electric shock to the both of them. It's surprising and makes you focus on the immediate moment. Having Fuuka around again means more development and room for growth in each other's lives. Am I expecting some kind of late night kiss scene around episode 20? No, but I do expect them to grow a little closer still, regardless, and now that they live next to each other and work with each other again, I think there will be plenty of opportunity for this. Now, real briefly, the Gama Gama world of things seems like a fairly closed off and tight-knit group, but I don't have a problem with that. I didn't at first. The offer of invitation to Eiji to have him join them in their welcome back party for Fuuka was surprising to see, but a much needed addition to the Gama Gama family. He's going to be a great fit, I feel, and someone Kukuru should have no issues with, unlike a certain someone. There's a couple important things to take away from this first after credit scene of the second core and the first one in around a month. Fuuka was determined to find her way back to Okinawa and Kukuru when she learned about Tingara. It was kind of inevitable that Gama Gama was going to close at the end of it all, but even if it didn't, Fuuka knew she still had to go home. What's important here is that Fuuka never gave up for Kukuru's sake and found her way back to the place she belongs and knows she's loved, and that determination and drive is exactly what I love about her. Kukuru's acknowledgement of this is also important to mention, as I believe this is what could have the biggest effect on Kukuru. If you look at the trends with Kukuru and Fuuka, it's kind of a no-brainer that things should end up pretty alright in the end, but again, only time will tell. There are probably still a few curveballs left to be had in this anime, especially considering it is a PA Works anime, and plot twists are kind of their style. This second core will undoubtedly pick up at some point and will probably become a major climax at some point around episode 20 and beyond. And no, I don't think the climax is going to be Kukuru getting to have an aquarium attendant position. Aquatope is not a March comes in like a lion type of thing where everything is incredibly slow and very not well paced. Really to the point that the only climax to be had is a very not so climaxy climax. Again, we'll just have to see where things go from here. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start closing things out here, but I want to thank you guys very much for all the amazing support on the last few Aquatope videos. Those have done very well, and they've made the top 1, 2, and 3 positions for quite some time now. So if you're enjoying what's going on around here, definitely consider leaving a comment. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm and they help get my channel out there and recommended to more people, so I do appreciate those and I like to see what you think. And also consider leaving a like and a subscription so we can hit those sub goals. And finally, remember that the Aquatope reviews are usually always on Fridays, and if not Friday, they will be following day Saturday. Look forward to some more awesome content next week. I'm going to have some other videos coming out as well, and I will catch you all in the next video.